All right, so I've got a pretty big story here for you guys. And so basically, what's going on is a story that I actually talked to you guys about yesterday. And it was basically that New York had decided via a very obscure provision in their budget that they passed, it wasn't a separate statute that they passed. They basically said if a candidate has, quote, dropped out, then they can be taken off the ballot. And so they just canceled their primary. Now, this was challenged by presidential candidate Andrew Yang in court, and an Obama appointed judge in the Southern District of New York, which is a federal judge. SDNY is not New York State, that is a federal judge, okay, in the federal court system. Reversed the decision, said no, this is in violation of the candidates' First and 14th Amendment associational rights, and so the candidates were reinstated on the ballot and the primary is to move forward. But it looks like the New York State Board of Elections has appealed the ruling from that Obama appointed judge. So this says New York State Board of Elections spox says they will appeal yesterday's ruling restoring Bernie Sanders and other Democrats to the ballot for the state's June 23rd primary. And has a little picture of this. This is actually submitted by the Attorney General. And it basically says official capacity of the New York State Board of Elections and NY State Board of Elections hereby appeal to the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit from the opinion and order of the District Court dated May 5th, 2020 and electronically filed on May 5th, 2020. So many people are not talking about this, but I think it's important that I get this out to you guys. Basically, they're trying really hard to subvert democracy. New York State is. I think that New York is one of the fakest blue states in the nation. Their governor's Andrew Cuomo has done a horrible job responding to the Roni that has cost, tens if not hundreds of thousands of lives, probably tens of thousands, maybe in the 100,000, or probably in the tens of thousands. But he's done a horrible job. They're trying to kick him off the ballot. If you're wondering why they're doing it to them, it's twofold, but really one is much bigger than the other. So one of them is that, they don't want, I think New York has 200 plus delegates, which is a lot of delegates. And so they don't want Bernie Sanders to get delegates to go to the DNC with to then have, leverage in that scenario. I think that that's what they don't want to do. They don't want to have him having more delegates. But I think the bigger deal for these people, and this is why they're so adamant about it, this is why New York elected officials are trying so hard to thwart democracy. Basically, the reason is because if Bernie Sanders is at the top of the ballot, it means that the down ballot Democrats succeed much better, and they will, the progressive down ballot candidates like Jamal Bowman, for example, they will do better because there are people actually voting. If Bernie isn't on the ballot, those people are not motivated to go out and vote. Therefore, they don't end up voting for the down ballot progressives. And so this is a move by New York's elected officials to protect themselves. They don't want another AOC unseating Joe Crowley because Andrew Cuomo and all these other people are Joe Crowleys. They're not progressives. So that's what they want to happen, and so that's why they're doing this. But this is a pretty big story. This is in the federal court circuit, so I'm assuming it's going to go to the appellate courts. I'm not sure which ones. I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar. But I don't know, maybe it goes to the appellate courts in the D.C. circuit. I'm not sure. And if, let's say, it goes to the appellate court and then they rule that the New York State is right, I don't know if Andrew Yang can then appeal that ruling and then it goes up to a higher one. So I don't know. Is this going to end up in the Supreme Court? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm not a legal scholar. But it's definitely going to be a legal battle. So hopefully they really keep fighting for this. But pretty crazy stuff going on right now in New York.